It was like a river going down the steps. When I got there, the fellowship hall and kitchen already had about 30 inches of water, and it was just continuing to rise. Boxes of church records were floating by, filled with our historical photos. A few weeks earlier, Hurricane Henri was supposed to make landfall not far from us, and nothing really materialized from that. So when they started talking about Hurricane Ida making landfall in New Orleans and then coming north, we didn't think anything of it. In the 120-year history of St. Paul, no one had ever seen anything like this.
When we came down, we found that the fellowship hall here, there was water coming down the stairs and was almost 2.5 to 3 feet of water down here. By the next morning, parish house next door, almost 5 feet, still in the basement. And down here in the fellowship hall was a good 3 feet, which is our kitchen. You know, we had some offices, some storage room, our electrical room, our furnace room.
Because I'm the pastor of a dual parish, we live in the parsonage at First Lutheran across town, which is on higher ground. But when I got the call, I headed over to St. Paul. St. Paul also has a parsonage, but they've rented it out to a Hispanic family that belongs to the congregation that also meets in our building here at St. Paul. And it's just the way things work in Greenwich. Property's so expensive. All of these old classic New England homes have been converted into multifamily dwellings. And the basement is fully finished, and it's been converted into a separate apartment for one of the members. And the poor guy was asleep, I assume, in his bed. And suddenly the basement door gave way, and 5 feet of water came in seconds. And he got out fine, but he lost everything that he had. But at least our insurance will cover it. That's why we have insurance. And then about 2 weeks later, we learned from the insurance company that actually nothing would be covered. There's generally a waiver in most policies that excludes flood damage from most insurance plans. Both St. Paul and First Lutheran have a history of working with LCEF. We learned about the interest-free disaster relief loan that LCEF offers. They offer this to congregations, basically ones that are in our shoes and need help getting back on their feet and back to doing what God has called us to do. All right, Lord, what's your plan here? I know you have one. He'd given us a beautiful second building only 2 miles away. First Lutheran and St. Paul have been in the process of merging. We're in the middle of drafting our new constitution. And I think that this catastrophe, in a way, is actually going to help accelerate that process, bringing us together.
The whole idea with this merger is it's a very emotional, difficult thing when you have two churches that have been around for 80 and for First Lutheran and St. Paul about 120. And we're blessed to have this opportunity, that we're so close together and we're like-minded. We're confessional Lutherans, and we want the word to continue.
Next year, St. Paul will celebrate their 120th anniversary. St. Paul was founded originally by Slovak immigrants.
My parents came from Czechoslovakia. I am a first-generation American. We were able to have Slovak services here when we celebrated our 100th anniversary. Vítam ťa do svatého Pavla, evangelická luteránska kostol. And that basically says, I welcome you to St. Paul's Evangelical Lutheran Church.
We have 120 years of history and ministry here in Greenwich. And we don't know exactly what that's going to look like in the future, but we do know that God will be leading and guiding our steps. And it's exciting to see how His perfect plan is going to be done in our midst.